Imagine your body has been sending you cries for help for months, but you ignore them because they seem so commonplace. A little tiredness here, a little stomachache there, nothing to worry about, you think. But what if I told you that these seemingly harmless symptoms could be the first warning signs of one of the deadliest forms of cancer? Here's the shocking truth. Pancreatic cancer is a silent killer that moves through your body like a shadow. It is often referred to as the king of all cancers, not because of its prevalence, but because of its malignancy. While other cancers can often be detected early and treated successfully, pancreatic cancer usually goes undetected until it's too late. The statistics are frightening. Only 5% of people diagnosed with pancreatic cancer survive beyond 5 years. This makes it one of the most aggressive and deadly forms of cancer known to medicine. But here's the most important thing. This low survival rate is not because the cancer is untreatable, it's because it's usually detected far too late. A frightening study by the German Cancer Society found that 78% of all pancreatic cancer patients were only diagnosed once the cancer had already metastasized. This means that it had already spread to other organs and was no longer curable. Another study by the University of Heidelberg showed that people who recognized the early warning signs and took them seriously had a 400% higher chance of survival. But the tragic thing is that the early symptoms of pancreatic cancer are so common and nonspecific that they are overlooked by most people, and even by many doctors. A slight feeling of pressure in the abdomen is dismissed as a digestive problem. Weight loss is attributed to stress. Back pain is considered a normal sign of aging. Before we dive deeper, write to us in the comments. Have you noticed any unexplained abdominal pain or weight loss lately? And which city are you watching us from? We read every comment and take your concerns seriously, because early detection can save lives. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Klar Vital and activate the bell. This video could be the most important one you'll ever see. It could save your life or the life of a loved one. Today we're going to reveal 8 critical warning signs of pancreatic cancer that you should never ignore. These symptoms are like your body's emergency call, and recognizing and taking them seriously could mean the difference between life and death. Let's start with the first and perhaps most insidious symptom of all. It starts so innocently that you may ignore it for weeks or even months. A dull pain deep in your abdomen, right where your ribcage ends. It feels like constant pressure, as if someone is gently but relentlessly pressing against your organs. Sometimes this pain radiates to your back, as if you've been lifting something heavy or sitting in an uncomfortable position for too long. This is the first and perhaps most insidious warning sign of pancreatic cancer. Persistent abdominal pain that won't go away. Here's why this symptom is so dangerously overlooked. It doesn't feel dramatic. It's not a sharp, unbearable pain that sends you rushing to the doctor. Instead, it's a constant nagging ache that comes and goes but never completely disappears. Many people think it's just stress, poor posture, or a digestive problem. But here's the shocking truth. The pancreas is located deep in your abdomen, just behind the stomach and in front of the spine. When a tumor forms there, it presses against surrounding organs and nerves. This pressure causes the characteristic dull pain that often feels like fullness or internal tension. A study by the Mayo Clinic examined 1,200 pancreatic cancer patients and found that 89% of them had complained of persistent abdominal pain months before their diagnosis. The tragic thing is that most of them dismissed this pain as normal digestive problems and did not pursue it further. Dr. Andreas Müller, a leading oncologist at the German Cancer Research Center, explains, pancreatic cancer is particularly insidious because the early symptoms seem so commonplace. The pain is often not severe enough to raise alarm bells, but it is constant enough to be a sign. What makes this pain particularly suspicious? It has certain characteristic features. It often occurs after eating, especially after fatty meals. This is because the pancreas produces enzymes that help digest fats. When a tumor interferes with this function, pain occurs after eating. The pain may worsen when you lie down and improve when you bend forward. This is due to the anatomical location of the pancreas and how the tumor puts pressure on surrounding structures. The pain can radiate to the back, especially in the middle back between the shoulder blades. Many people think they have back problems, when in fact the pain is coming from a tumor in the pancreas. Marianne, 67, from Bremen, told us her story. I had this nagging pain in my stomach for months. My family doctor said it was just stress, and prescribed stomach tablets, but the pain never went away. It was only when I noticed that it got worse after every meal that I insisted on further tests. Fortunately, the cancer was detected early enough. If you have persistent abdominal pain that lasts longer than 2 weeks, don't hesitate. Get it checked out. It could be the most important thing you ever do for your health. The second warning sign is even more insidious, because it is often perceived as positive. You step on the scale and rejoice. You've lost weight. No diet, no exercise. The pounds are just melting away. For many people, this sounds like a dream come true. But if you are losing weight unintentionally and inexplicably, it could be an alarming sign of pancreatic cancer. Unintentional weight loss is often the first symptom that people with pancreatic cancer notice, and ironically, the symptom they are most likely to ignore or even welcome. Here's the scary truth. Cancer cells are like molecular pirates that steal energy and nutrients from your body. A growing tumor needs enormous amounts of energy to grow and divide. It gets this energy from your fat and muscle reserves, leading to rapid weight loss. In pancreatic cancer, this weight loss is particularly pronounced because the tumor disrupts the production of digestive enzymes. Your food is no longer properly digested and absorbed, leading to nutrient deficiencies and further weight loss. A frightening study by Johns Hopkins University retrospectively tracked 800 pancreatic cancer patients and found that 85% of them had lost at least 10% of their body weight in the 6 months prior to their diagnosis. Many had even lost 15 to 20 kilograms without trying. But here's the tricky part. In our weight-conscious society, weight loss is often seen as something positive. People congratulate themselves on it or attribute it to stress, menopause, or age, but it could be a cry for help from the body. Dr. Sarah Weber, an oncologist at the University Hospital of Munich, warns, unintentional weight loss of more than 5% of body weight in 3 months should always be taken seriously. This is not a cause for celebration, but a reason for a thorough examination. What makes this weight loss particularly suspicious? There are certain characteristics to look out for. The weight loss occurs even though you are eating normally, or even more than usual. Your appetite may be normal, but the scale still shows less. You are not only losing fat, but also muscle mass. This is evident from the fact that you feel weaker and have less strength. The weight loss is constant and progressive. It's not just a kilo or two that come and go, but a steady downward trend. At the same time, you notice other symptoms, such as fatigue, weakness, or changes in digestion. Klaus, 71, from Hamburg told us, I was delighted when I lost 15 kilograms in 4 months. Everyone congratulated me, but then I realized that I hadn't done anything differently. No exercise, no diet. When I went to the doctor, it was almost too late. The tumor was already large, but fortunately still operable. If you lose more than 5% of your body weight in 3 months without trying, don't hesitate. Get yourself checked out. Your life could depend on it. The third warning sign concerns something we all do every day but rarely pay attention to. You look in the mirror and notice that something is wrong. Your skin has a yellowish tinge that you've never seen before. Your eyes, normally white and clear, have a yellowish tint. Even the white under your fingernails looks yellowish. This is jaundice, and if it appears suddenly, it could be a warning sign of pancreatic cancer. Jaundice occurs when bilirubin, a breakdown product of red blood cells, accumulates in the body. Normally, bilirubin is processed by the liver and transported to the small intestine via the gallbladder. But if a tumor in the pancreas blocks the bile ducts, the bilirubin cannot drain away and accumulates in the blood. A study by the University of Heidelberg examined 600 pancreatic cancer patients and found that 70% of them developed jaundice, often as the first visible sign of their disease. The problem is that jaundice is often confused with liver disease or gallstones, causing the true cause to be overlooked. Dr. Michael Schmidt, a gastroenterologist at Berlin University Hospital, explains, jaundice in adults is never normal and should always be investigated immediately. In people over 60, it is particularly suspicious of pancreatic cancer, especially if it occurs suddenly and without pain. But jaundice is not just a cosmetic problem. It brings with it a number of distressing symptoms. Intense itching all over the body, which often worsens at night. This itching is caused by bile acids that accumulate under the skin. Dark urine that looks like strong tea or cola. This is due to elevated bilirubin, which is excreted by the kidneys. Light clay-colored stools. Normally stools get their brown color from bilirubin. If it does not reach the intestines, the stools become light in color. Nausea and vomiting, especially after fatty meals. This is because fats cannot be digested properly without bile flow. What makes jaundice particularly treacherous in pancreatic cancer? Unlike gallstones, which often cause severe pain, jaundice in pancreatic cancer can be completely painless. This is known as painless jaundice and is a particularly alarming sign. Ingrid, 74, from Stuttgart told us, "My granddaughter was the first to notice that my eyes looked yellow. I thought it was just the light, but when my skin also turned yellow and I started to feel terribly itchy, I went to the doctor. Fortunately, we discovered the cancer early." If you suddenly develop jaundice, especially if it is painless, don't hesitate for a minute. Go to the doctor or the emergency room immediately. Early detection can mean the difference between life and death. The fourth warning sign is so common that almost everyone ignores it. It's a problem that almost everyone is familiar with: indigestion. A feeling of fullness after small meals, flatulence that won't go away, and sometimes foul-smelling, greasy stools. Most people blame it on age, stress, or poor diet. But if these problems occur suddenly or worsen, they could be a sign of pancreatic cancer. The pancreas produces vital enzymes that help digest fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. If a tumor interferes with enzyme production or blocks the ducts through which these enzymes flow, your food cannot be digested properly. A study by the University of California examined 500 pancreatic cancer patients and found that 76% of them had complained of new or worsening digestive problems in the months before their diagnosis. The tragic thing is that most of them had dismissed these symptoms as normal signs of aging. Digestive disorders associated with pancreatic cancer have certain characteristic features. Steatorrhea. This is fatty, foul-smelling stool that floats in the toilet water. This happens because fats are not digested properly and are excreted undigested. Rapid satiety. You feel full after just a few bites and cannot eat any more. This is because the tumor is putting pressure on the stomach or slowing down gastric emptying. Nausea and vomiting, especially after fatty meals. Without the necessary digestive enzymes, fatty foods cannot be processed. Flatulence and abdominal cramps that cannot be relieved by usual means. Dr. Lisa Hoffman, gastroenterologist at Charité Berlin, warns, if people over 50 suddenly develop new digestive problems, especially fatty stools and rapid satiety, pancreatic cancer should always be considered. These symptoms are overlooked far too often. But here's the problem. These symptoms are so common and nonspecific that they are easily overlooked. Everyone has digestive problems from time to time, and many people develop lactose intolerance or other food intolerances as they age. The key is to pay attention to changes. If you suddenly develop digestive problems that you didn't have before, or if existing problems worsen significantly, you should take it seriously. Helmut, 69, from Munich told us, "I thought it was just age when I started having fatty stools and feeling nauseous after every meal. My wife urged me to see a doctor. Luckily, the tumor was still small enough to be operated on." Pay attention to changes in your digestion, especially if they occur along with other symptoms. Your body is trying to tell you something important. The fifth warning sign concerns something that many people consider normal. You wake up in the morning feeling as if you haven't slept at all. Throughout the day, you feel as if a leaden blanket is weighing you down. Even simple tasks such as climbing stairs or shopping become enormous efforts. This overwhelming fatigue and weakness is not just a sign of aging. It could be an important warning sign of pancreatic cancer. Cancer-related fatigue is different from normal tiredness. It is a deep, pervasive exhaustion that is not relieved by sleep or rest. It is caused by several factors. The tumor steals energy from your body. Your immune system is working overtime. And digestive problems lead to nutrient deficiencies. A study by German Cancer Aid examined 700 pancreatic cancer patients and found that 82% of them had complained of unusual fatigue and weakness in the months before their diagnosis. Many described it as a tiredness that goes right down to the bones. This fatigue has certain characteristics that distinguish it from normal tiredness. It occurs even after sufficient sleep. Even if you have slept for 8 to 10 hours, you do not feel rested. It does not improve with activity, but gets worse. While normal tiredness is often relieved by exercise, cancer fatigue worsens with exertion. It impairs your concentration and thinking ability. Many patients report brain fog, a kind of mental sluggishness. It is constantly present, not just occasionally. It is a persistent weakness that lasts for weeks or months. Dr. Thomas Richter, an oncologist at the German Cancer Research Center, explains, "Cancer fatigue is one of the most underestimated symptoms. Many people think it's just stress or age, but it can be an important indicator of a serious illness." What makes this fatigue particularly dangerous? It often develops gradually. At first you are just a little more tired than usual. Then you need longer to recover from exertion. Eventually, even everyday tasks become major challenges. Many people adapt their lives to this fatigue instead of looking for the cause. They go to bed earlier, reduce their activities, or take vitamin supplements. But the real cause remains undetected. Renate, 72 from Dresden, told us, "For months I was so tired that I always had to sleep in the afternoon. I thought it was just my age. But when the fatigue became so bad that I could hardly leave the house, I went to the doctor. Fortunately, the pancreatic cancer had not yet spread. If you have persistent, unexplained fatigue that is affecting your life, get it checked out. It could be more than just stress or age." The sixth warning sign appears in a place you would never expect. The pain comes out of nowhere, a sharp, burning pain in your back, somewhere between your shoulder blades. You think you may have slept awkwardly or lifted something too heavy. You try heat patches, massages, or painkillers, but the pain doesn't go away. What you don't know is that this back pain could be caused by a tumor in your pancreas. Back pain is often the first and only symptom of pancreatic cancer that prompts people to see a doctor. But tragically, it is usually misinterpreted as an orthopedic problem, a slipped disc, or muscle tension. The pancreas is located directly in front of the spine. If a tumor forms there, it can press on the nerves leading to the spine and cause pain that feels like it is coming from the back itself. A study by the University of Michigan examined 400 pancreatic cancer patients and found that 75% of them had back pain. And in 45% of cases, this back pain was the first symptom they experienced. The problem: 80% of these patients were initially treated for back problems, delaying their cancer diagnosis by an average of 6 months. Back pain associated with pancreatic cancer has certain characteristic features. It often occurs in the middle of the back, between the shoulder blades, or in the stomach area. This is different from typical back pain, which usually occurs in the lower back. It worsens at night, or when lying down. Many patients cannot lie flat and have to sleep with their upper body propped up. It improves when you bend forward or crouch down. This is because this position reduces the pressure of the tumor on the nerves. It responds poorly to conventional back pain treatments. Physical therapy, massages, or normal painkillers provide little relief. Dr. Andreas Zimmermann, spine specialist at Heidelberg University Hospital, warns, when patients over 50 suddenly develop back pain that does not respond to conventional treatments, especially if it gets worse at night, I always consider possible internal causes, such as pancreatic cancer. The tricky thing about this back pain is that it is often the only symptom, at least initially. People go to the orthopedist, have x-rays taken of their spine, try different therapies, but no one thinks to examine the abdomen. Friedrich, 76 from Cologne, told us, "I had this terrible back pain for months. I went to 3 different orthopedists, had physical therapy, got injections, nothing helped. It was only when the pain became so bad at night that I couldn't sleep anymore, that I went to the hospital. There they discovered the tumor in my pancreas." If you suddenly develop back pain that is different from anything you have experienced before and does not respond to usual treatments, insist that other causes be investigated. It could save your life. The 7th warning sign is particularly insidious because it is often misunderstood as a precursor to diabetes. You notice that you are constantly thirsty. No matter how much you drink, the thirst does not go away. You need to go to the bathroom more often, especially at night. You may also feel more tired than usual or have blurred vision. Your doctor does a blood sugar test and finds that you have suddenly developed diabetes. But what if this new diabetes is not an isolated problem, but a warning sign for pancreatic cancer? The pancreas has 2 main functions. It produces digestive enzymes, and it produces insulin, which regulates blood sugar. If a tumor destroys these insulin-producing cells or impairs their function, diabetes can suddenly develop. A groundbreaking study by the Mayo Clinic followed 2,000 people who developed diabetes after the age of 50. The alarming result: 40% of those who developed pancreatic cancer within 2 years of being diagnosed with diabetes had no other obvious risk factors for diabetes. Dr. Suresh Chari, a leading pancreatic cancer researcher, explains, "New-onset diabetes in people over 50, especially when accompanied by weight loss, should always be cause for further investigation. It could be the first sign of pancreatic cancer." What makes this new diabetes particularly suspicious? There are certain warning signs to look out for. The diabetes appears suddenly, with no apparent risk factors. You are not overweight, have no family history of diabetes, and your diet has not changed. It is accompanied by unexplained weight loss. Type 2 diabetes usually leads to weight gain, not weight loss. Blood sugar is difficult to control despite medication and diet. This is because the tumor continues to interfere with insulin production. It occurs along with other symptoms, such as abdominal pain, digestive problems, or back pain. The problem is that most doctors focus on treating the diabetes without looking for the underlying cause. The patient is given medication, advised on diet, and encouraged to control their weight, but the actual tumor remains undetected. Anna, 68 from Frankfurt, told us her story. "When I was suddenly diagnosed with diabetes, I was shocked. I had never been overweight and had never had any problems with my blood sugar. My doctor prescribed medication, but I continued to lose weight. It was only when I insisted on a second opinion and had further tests that they found the tumor in my pancreas. Fortunately, it was still operable." If you suddenly develop diabetes after the age of 50, especially if it is accompanied by weight loss or other unusual symptoms, get yourself thoroughly checked out. Diabetes can be your body's early warning system. The 8th and final warning sign is perhaps the most subtle of all, but also one of the most important. It's hard to describe, but you know your body better than anyone else. You sense that something is wrong. It's not a single symptom, but a general feeling of unease, as if your body is no longer functioning properly. Doctors call this constitutional symptoms, a collective term for a series of subtle changes that together paint a picture. This general feeling of illness encompasses various aspects: loss of appetite that goes beyond normal fluctuations. Food that you used to enjoy suddenly tastes unappetizing. You have to force yourself to eat, even though you know you need nourishment. Altered sense of taste. Everything tastes bland or metallic. It is particularly common to report that meat suddenly tastes or smells unpleasant. Newly developed sleep disturbances. You cannot fall asleep, wake up in the middle of the night, or you sleep but never feel rested. Difficulty concentrating and forgetfulness. You have trouble focusing on tasks, forget things more often, or feel mentally foggy. A general feeling of weakness and lack of energy that goes beyond normal tiredness. A study by Stanford University looked back at 300 pancreatic cancer patients and found that 91% of them had complained of general malaise in the 6 months before their diagnosis. Many described it as, "I just don't feel like myself." Dr. Maria Gonzalez, an oncologist at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, explains, "Cancer patients often have an amazing intuition about their bodies. They sense that something is fundamentally wrong, even if they can't put it into words. This intuition should be taken seriously." The problem with these constitutional symptoms is that they are so vague. Everyone has bad days when they don't feel well. Stress, worries, seasonal changes, family problems, all of these can cause similar symptoms. But there is one important difference. When these symptoms are caused by external factors, they usually disappear when the circumstances change. When they are caused by cancer, they progressively worsen and do not respond to the usual measures. Pay particular attention to the following warning signs. The symptoms last longer than 4 weeks without improving. They get progressively worse even when you try to treat them. They occur together with other symptoms we have discussed. You have a strong feeling that something is wrong, even if you can't put your finger on it. Herbert, 73, from Düsseldorf, told us, "For weeks I just didn't feel like myself. I had no appetite, couldn't sleep, and everything seemed exhausting. My family said it was just a rough patch, but I knew something serious was wrong. When I insisted on being thoroughly examined, they found the cancer." Trust your intuition. If you have a persistent feeling that something is wrong with your body, get it checked out. Your body may be sending you vital signals. Now you know all 8 critical warning signs of pancreatic cancer. But knowledge alone is not enough. You also need to know what to do if you notice these symptoms. Here is your action plan. First, take your symptoms seriously. Don't dismiss them as normal signs of aging or just stress. Your body may be trying to tell you something important. Second, document your symptoms. Keep a diary of when the symptoms occur, how severe they are, and what makes them better or worse. This information is very valuable to your doctor. Third, be persistent in seeking medical care. If your primary care doctor does not take your symptoms seriously or does not investigate them adequately, get a second opinion. Insist on further testing if you feel that something is being overlooked. Fourth, know the right tests. For pancreatic cancer, the most important imaging tests are CT scans with contrast dye and MRI. Blood tests for tumor markers, such as CA19-9, can be helpful, but are not always reliable. Fifth, don't hesitate if you have emergency symptoms. If you suddenly experience severe abdominal pain, jaundice, or persistent vomiting, go to the emergency room immediately. Dr. Jonathan Fisher, head of pancreatology at Heidelberg University Hospital, emphasizes, "The key to improving survival rates for pancreatic cancer lies in early detection. Every day can be crucial. If patients know the warning signs and take them seriously, we can save lives." But let me also convey an important message of hope. Not all of these symptoms automatically mean cancer. Many other less serious conditions can cause similar symptoms. The point is not to panic, but to be vigilant and get checked out. Medicine has also made great strides in the treatment of pancreatic cancer. New surgical techniques, improved chemotherapies, and innovative treatment approaches have improved survival rates. But the most important factor remains early detection. Here are some additional factors that may increase your risk of pancreatic cancer. Age over 60. The risk increases dramatically with age. Smoking. Smokers have twice the risk of non-smokers. Diabetes, especially long-standing diabetes. Chronic pancreatitis, inflammation of the pancreas. Family history of pancreatic cancer, or certain genetic syndromes. Obesity. Being severely overweight increases the risk. If you have several risk factors, it is particularly important to watch out for the warning signs and have regular checkups. There are also things you can do to reduce your risk. Stop smoking if you are a smoker. This is the most important single measure. Maintain a healthy weight. Drink alcohol only in moderation. Eat a healthy diet with plenty of fruit and vegetables. Exercise regularly. Get diabetes well managed if you have it. Sabine, 71, from Berlin, shared her experience with us. "After my sister died of pancreatic cancer, I paid very close attention to my body. When I noticed that I was losing weight and had abdominal pain, I went to the doctor immediately. The cancer was detected at a very early stage and was completely removed. Knowing the warning signs saved my life. Her story shows how important it is to be informed and vigilant. Everyone should know the warning signs of pancreatic cancer. Not to live in fear, but to be able to act quickly if the worst comes to the worst. It is also important to understand that the symptoms often develop gradually. They start out mild and gradually get worse. Many people adapt to these changes instead of recognizing them as warning signs. Dr. Sarah Hoffman, an oncologist at the German Cancer Research Center, explains, pancreatic cancer is often referred to as a silent killer, but that's not entirely accurate. It does send signals. We just need to learn to recognize them and take them seriously. Here are some additional tips that may help. Don't compare your symptoms to those of other people. Everyone's body is different, and cancer can manifest differently in different people. Don't rely on internet self-diagnosis. While it's good to be informed, only a doctor can make an accurate diagnosis. Bring someone you trust with you to important doctor's appointments. A second person can help remember important information and ask questions you may forget. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Ask your doctor to explain tests and treatments so you understand what is going on. Get support. A cancer diagnosis can be overwhelming. Don't hesitate to seek help from family, friends, or professional counselors. Research on pancreatic cancer is constantly evolving. New tests for early detection are being developed, and treatment options are continually improving. But until these advances are available to everyone, awareness of warning signs remains our best defense. Remember, having this knowledge does not mean living in constant fear. It means being informed and prepared. Most people will never develop pancreatic cancer, but for those who do, recognizing the early warning signs can mean the difference between life and death. If you found this video helpful, share it with your loved ones. Knowledge can save lives, and you never know who you might help. A friend, a family member, a neighbor. Anyone could benefit from this information. Let's summarize what we've learned. The 8 critical warning signs of pancreatic cancer are: first, persistent abdominal pain that doesn't go away and often gets worse. Second, unintentional weight loss for no apparent reason. Third, jaundice, a yellowing of the skin and eyes. Fourth, new or worsening digestive problems. Fifth, persistent fatigue and weakness that is not relieved by rest. Sixth, back pain that does not respond to usual treatments. Seventh, new onset diabetes, especially in people over 50. Eighth, a general feeling of illness and an intuition that something is wrong. If you have one or more of these symptoms, it does not automatically mean that you have cancer, but it does mean that you should get checked out. Early detection is the key to successful treatment. We would like to hear from you in the comments. Have you noticed any of these symptoms in yourself or a loved one? How did you deal with it? Your experiences can help and encourage others. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel Claire Vital, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any important health information. Your life or the life of a loved one could depend on it. Remember, your health is your most valuable asset. Take your body's signals seriously, be your own health advocate, and never hesitate to seek medical help if something is wrong. See you in the next video, where we'll share more vital health information. Until then, listen to your body, trust your intuition, and stay healthy. Your life is precious. Protect it.